As alarms blare across the coalition war room, a lone human steps through the throng of alien military leaders, each one more battle-hardened and ferocious-looking than the last. Commander Eliana Reeves, with an unyielding calm, approaches the central holotable where a galaxy map flickers under the chaos of red flashing sectors, each one a battlefield lost to the enemy. "We've been watching from the sidelines, learning," Eliana's voice cuts through the pandemonium, turning heads and silencing murmurs. "You've fought with valor but not with wisdom. Give us command for one cycle, and we will show you what peace through human ingenuity looks like." Her bold claim hangs in the air, challenged by the skeptical stares of towering figures armored in exoskeletons and biosuits. As the room's tension peaks, a massive, four-armed general steps forward, his voice booming, "And if you fail, human?" Eliana meets his gaze, her confidence unwavering. "Then you may continue this war without us. But remember, it was you who sought Earth's help as your last hope, not the other way around." Chapter 1: The Council of Desperation. In the vast, starlit chamber of the Galactic Council, tension hung thick as the air before a storm. Carved from the ancient bedrock of Neutralis Prime, the amphitheater buzzed with the low murmurs of dozens of alien diplomats. Their voices melded into a discordant symphony. At the heart of the chamber stood the human delegation, led by Commander Eliana Reeves. Today, she represented not only Earth but also, perhaps, the galaxy's last chance for peace. As Eliana stepped forward, a hushed silence enveloped the room. Her gaze swept across the assembled envoys, each representing civilizations that had, until now, regarded human involvement in interstellar conflicts with veiled disdain. "Ladies, gentlemen, and esteemed beings," Eliana began, her voice calm yet edged with a sharpness that sliced through the dense tension. "We stand at a precipice. The war that ravages our galaxy threatens not just your worlds, but the very fabric of our universe." Her eyes met those of General Darkesh, the Zentari commander known for his ruthless efficiency and his disdain for diplomacy. His four eyes narrowed slightly, revealing his skepticism. "We offer a third path," Eliana continued, undeterred. "Not paved with the lives of your people but built on the foundation of strategic peace. Grant us command for one cycle, and we will guide this war toward a ceasefire without further bloodshed." Murmurs rippled through the chamber, a mix of disbelief and intrigue. A towering Vraxian delegate flapped his wings in agitation. "And if your plan fails, Commander Reeves? Are we to entrust the fate of the galaxy to a species that has never triumphed in war?" Eliana responded promptly, her tone unwavering. "We have indeed never triumphed in war because we have never engaged in one without ensuring peace was a probable outcome. Our strategies remain untested in your arenas precisely because we have not needed to prove them." The room fell silent, the impact of her words settling like dust after a meteor strike. Darkesh stood, his voice booming across the chamber. "You speak of peace in times of war as if words were mightier than weapons. Why should we trust your inexperience?" "Because, General Darkesh," Eliana replied with a respectful nod, "our history is not one of inexperience, but one of resolution. Your current strategies are predictable and failing. What do you have to lose by trying ours?" Darkesh's scowl deepened, but he sat down, silenced. Eliana took this as her cue to conclude. "We ask for your trust, to achieve what guns and cannons have not a chance for real peace. Are you willing to try, or will you watch your worlds burn, one by one?" The chamber erupted into a cacophony of whispers and heated debates. Some delegates shook their heads, others conversed fervently, weighing the human's audacious proposal. As Eliana returned to her seat, her team's eyes met hers, a blend of admiration and anxiety evident in their expressions. They had played their hand, the stakes were high. Now, it was up to the Council to decide. The hum of the Galactic Council chamber had subsided into an uneasy silence as the delegates dispersed, leaving the humans to prepare for what could be their defining moment in interstellar politics. Commander Eliana Reeves and her team, now aboard their flagship, the Diplomat, were meticulously outlining their first maneuvers in this unprecedented strategy. In the strategy room, holographic displays flickered with star maps and troop movements, Eliana stood before them, her focus laser sharp. Our first step is intelligence. We need to understand their strategies better than they understand themselves, she directed her team. Lieutenant Harrow, her chief intelligence officer, nodded, accessing the data streams. We've got eyes on their supply lines. If we disrupt there, we can force them to the negotiation table sooner. But we do it our way, Eliana emphasized firmly. No direct assaults. We need to be cunning, strike where it hurts without shedding blood. The ensuing days were a blur of activity. Human ships, sleek and unobtrusive, glided through war zones, collecting intelligence and subtly undermining the enemy's logistics. The alien coalition observed with a heavy skepticism hanging over the initial operations. Eliana engaged in regular communications with General Darkesh via secure transmission, their exchanges initially clipped. You play a dangerous game, Commander. If your tactics fail, you risk not just your people but all our lives, Darkesh cautioned in one call. With all due respect, General, traditional warfare has already cost too many lives, Eliana retorted, her tone both firm and diplomatic. Our methods are unorthodox, but they are meticulously calculated. You will see the results soon. And results did manifest. A major enemy armada, poised to strike a critical coalition world, discovered their fuel supplies contaminated. Marooned, they became prime targets for negotiation rather than destruction. This victory rippled through the coalition like a spark igniting dry grass. Doubts persisted, yet murmurs of human resourcefulness began to soften the previously hardened edges of disbelief among the alien races. In another audacious maneuver, Eliana orchestrated a feint that ensnared another enemy fleet in a well-defended snare. Without discharging a single shot, the enemy was captured and brought to peace talks. The operation exemplified a masterclass in psychological warfare, instilling confusion and fear among the enemy ranks. These humans. They do not fight with brute force but with the acuity of their intellects, remarked a once skeptical alien commander during a council briefing. Darkesh, witnessing these triumphs, found his respect for Eliana burgeoning. In a private transmission, he admitted, your tactics are unconventional. But they are effective. Perhaps there is merit in your approach. Eliana recognized that the most challenging aspect of her mission lay ahead, sustaining the fragile trust of her allies while continuing to coerce the enemy toward peace. However, the initial victories had afforded her team a crucial advantage: credibility. The winds of change swept through the coalition, carrying with them whispers of humanity's unconventional triumphs. Aboard the Diplomat, Commander Eliana Reeves scrutinized the latest reports from the ongoing peace talks, her expression one of intense focus. The initial victories had begun to alter perceptions, yet the real challenge of these fragile alliances lay in their ability to sustain cooperation. In the strategy room, Eliana convened a meeting with her core team and prominent alien representatives. The air was tinged with a cautious optimism previously absent. Our next steps extend beyond mere tactics, Eliana initiated, addressing those gathered. It's about cementing this alliance. We must evolve respect into reliance. General Darkesh, his visage flickering in a hologram, nodded with reluctant acknowledgement. Your strategies possess merit, Commander. Yet unity is a complex battle in itself, especially among races with centuries of hostilities. Indeed, General. That's why our own human history might offer guidance. We've navigated our global conflicts toward unity before. It's time to apply those lessons here, Eliana responded, her voice imbued with the weight of history. Their dialogue was abruptly interrupted by an urgent alert: an assassination attempt on a member of the peace delegation, narrowly averted by human security measures. The incident served as a stark reminder of the underlying tensions that threatened to undermine their progress. Eliana quickly convened an emergency session with the coalition leaders. This attack targets not merely one delegate but the very prospect of our peace, she proclaimed in the crowded briefing room aboard the Diplomat. Her eyes swept across the gathered faces, her gaze resolute. Let us harness this event as a catalyst not for division, but for forging deeper bonds. The session stretched into hours of intense discussions, with Eliana and her team navigating conflicting viewpoints and calming inflamed tempers. By its conclusion, a new security pact was forged, integrating human tactical units with alien forces, a tangible symbol of their burgeoning unity. Amidst these developments, Eliana discovered an unlikely confidant in General Darkesh. During a late-night strategy meeting, Darkesh appeared more contemplative than usual via his hologram. "Commander, I underestimated your kind. Your tactics are subtle yet potent," he conceded, his voice blending respect and introspection. Eliana offered a slight smile. "And I have gained much from your forthrightness, General. Perhaps, together, we can enlighten our adversaries on the value of peace over war." Their alliance, once precarious, began to coalesce. Together, they orchestrated a series of joint operations aimed not just at securing strategic edges but also at showcasing the strength of their unified front. Each mission, carried out with meticulous precision and foresight, gradually shifted public and political sentiment within the coalition. As the coalition's newfound unity began to crystallize under human leadership, the tactical acumen of Commander Eliana Reeves took center stage. Aboard the Diplomat, Eliana convened a critical meeting with her advisors and General Darkesh, who had evolved into her most trusted strategic partner. "We need to undermine the enemy's morale," Eliana suggested, pointing to a cluster of systems on the holographic map. "By executing precision strikes on their supply depots, we can deprive them of resources and compel them into a defensive stance." Darkesh grunted his approval. "Your tactics are unorthodox, Commander, yet they bear fruit. I propose a joint operation. My forces will act as a decoy, drawing their fleets away from the real targets." Their strategy quickly took form, blending human strategic finesse with alien military strength. Human operatives, adept in stealth and sabotage, penetrated key enemy locations, planting signs of imminent large-scale attacks. As anticipated, the enemy redirected their forces, exposing their supply lines. Simultaneously, Darkesh spearheaded a feigned frontal assault, further diverting the enemy's focus from the true threat. Meanwhile, Eliana's teams executed swift, precise strikes on the now lightly defended supply depots. The operations triumphed resoundingly. Reports of dwindling supplies and escalating panic confirmed the strategy's effectiveness, filtering back from enemy lines. Back on the Diplomat, Eliana analyzed the outcomes with her team. "This is more than a military triumph," she declared. "It's a psychological victory. We're not merely depleting their resources, we're sowing doubt within their ranks." The psychological impact was indeed significant. Leaks and defections from the enemy's side escalated as their confidence in their leaders diminished. Seizing this opportunity, Eliana launched an ambitious propaganda campaign, broadcasting the coalition's successes and offering amnesty and protection to defectors. This campaign permeated deep into enemy territories through multiple channels. These initiatives destabilized the enemy further, while coalition morale surged. Meetings once rife with suspicion and discord now exuded a spirit of collaboration and mutual respect. The human approach of fostering open communication and celebrating shared victories had united the diverse group in ways that diplomacy alone could not have accomplished. During a crucial joint command session, General Darkesh addressed the assembly. "I once doubted human capabilities in warfare. I was mistaken. Commander Reeves has not only demonstrated exceptional leadership but has also underscored the power of uniting our strengths." The operations escalated in both coordination and efficacy, each maneuver carefully planned and flawlessly executed. With each successful mission, the end. Aboard the Diplomat, in the quiet of the war room, Commander Eliana Reeves and General Darkesh surveyed the galaxy map, now marked with significantly fewer conflict zones than before. The delicate balance of power had shifted, and with it, the prospect of enduring peace was finally within reach. "General, we've reached a critical juncture," Eliana began, her voice steady yet imbued with the gravity of imminent decisions. "It's time to shift from military maneuvers to diplomatic resolutions." Darkesh nodded, his expression grave. I concur, Commander. Your strategies have succeeded where force alone could not. I trust your leadership for the next phase. Plans for the peace talks were swiftly initiated, with Eliana at the helm of the negotiations. The chosen venue was Neutralis Prime, the very heart of the Galactic Council where humanity's audacious commitment to peace had first been declared. It was here that the war would formally conclude, and a new chapter in galactic history would commence. As representatives from all factions convened, the air was charged with tension but also with the anticipation of momentous change. Eliana addressed the assembly with the confidence of a diplomat seasoned by the hardships of war. Today, we gather not as foes but as architects of the future, she proclaimed. This peace is our shared legacy, forged from the sacrifices and valor of every race represented here. The negotiations were fervent, with each faction laying out their demands. Eliana adeptly steered these discussions, resolving conflicts and synergizing interests. Her goal was resolute: to establish a peace that was not only universal but also fair. As the discussions extended into hours and then days, pivotal agreements were reached concerning disarmament, territorial disputes, and the formation of a new interstellar council that would ensure no single race dominated. Each resolution represented a step back from the precipice of war, each compromise a thread mending the galaxy's torn fabric. The final negotiation session was a diplomatic marathon. Powered by sheer resolve, Eliana mediated the remaining disagreements. As dawn illuminated Neutralis Prime, a peace treaty was signed. The moment was historic, the collective relief and joy were palpable. Larkesh, who stood beside Eliana as news cameras broadcasted the event across the galaxy, uttered words that epitomized their triumph. Commander Reeves, you have shown us that bravery can take many forms. Today, it took the shape of peace. Eliana smiled, her eyes sweeping across the delegates, now united in their resolve. This treaty is not an endpoint but a commencement. It is a testament to what we can accomplish when we opt for dialogue over destruction. As the assembly celebrated, Eliana withdrew from the throng, stepping onto a balcony overlooking the capital. The peace they had secured was delicate, yet it was authentic. She recognized that the path ahead would demand vigilance, compromise, and above all, a continued commitment to understanding and valuing the galaxy's diverse cultures.